everyone, and welcome once again to my channel. My name is Luis Portelles, and for today's video, we have a very special one because we're going to be talking about my final top 20 predictions for Miss Grand International 2022. It is also a very special video because it is the first time that I'm doing this type of thing of doing like a live coverage, final predictions as a live stream. So it's the first time that I'm actually going to get to see you guys' reaction in real time. So I'm super, super excited for this. Just want to say hello, everyone in the live chat. I see you. Thank you for joining me and for being so patient. I know that I'm a little late, but I am definitely very exciting. Now, before we even get started, there is one thing that I want to ask you guys. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly. So if the sound on this video is okay, please someone let me know in the live chat. I just want to make sure that we have no issues. So thank you, everyone. The welcome. Hola, Edgar, Luis. Who else is here? Cresty. We have Red Massicat, my dear friend. Thank you for joining me. Astria, share up. My friend, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me, you guys. And once again, I really appreciate the patience. So, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, if you find some sort of value in it, and especially, if you want to support the channel, don't forget to hit the like button so that my video gets recommended to more people. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. We are so close to finally achieving 200,000 subscribers. We are literally just like 1,000 and a few subscribers away. So we're almost there. And of course, the purpose of me going live for this type of video is because I want to make this an interactive experience. So as I talk about the candidates, if you guys want to add anything, feel free to do so. My only request is that we keep it positive. So let's not bash, let's not throw hate at anyone, but instead let's just try to uplift the girls and have a conversation about their performance during the pageant. So I just hope that you enjoy this entire thing. I will see you with my official list right after the intro.
Get strong.
All right. Please, everyone, somebody give me props because I am doing these live shows, like doing the introduction, bringing the actual intro on the show. Please, I'm ready for like my own podcast or something. But of course, I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. This is actually a presentation that I prepared, which contains my final top 20 final picks. For each one of them, I'll give you some of my comments and the reasons why I think that they deserve a place within the top 20. As I said, feel free to add your own 2 cents. And at the end of the video, we can actually talk about candidates that maybe did not make my list, and you guys think that still have chances of actually cracking the top 20. So, without further ado, let's get officially into the first one. I have my notes here on the side so that I can, I don't forget any of the important points that I want to share. But at number 20 on my list, we actually have Miss Mauritius. Actually, wait, just give me 2 seconds. I just want to fix this because I think that... Yes, okay, perfect. All right, so Miss Mauritius at number 20 on my list. The reason why I put Mauritius at top 20, bear with me. Overall, I'm going to say that I really, really enjoyed her performance. I'm going to say that I think that her styling, just the way that she behaves on stage was very, very refreshing. And I was really glad to see that because truthfully, I feel like candidates from Mauritius don't get the recognition that they deserve sometimes because they are such a, like a small country. It's just a tiny island, of course, with beautiful and powerful and amazing people and culture. But I feel like sometimes they do tend to get overlooked. So I was happy to see that Miss Mauritius was performing well. The only reason why she is also within my top 20 is because at the moment she is leading the Miss Popular votes on the Miss Grand International, which I believe will automatically allow her to place within the top 10 of the competition. And you might be wondering, Luis, why is she the top 20 on your list if, she might crack the top 10? I think that, as I said, she has a very refreshing performance. For me personally, the performance doesn't justify a top 10 placement. However, if she wins, that category for the Miss Popular votes, then that's fine. She earned it. But just based on performance, I think that for me, she is mostly within the top 20. So you guys let me know in The comment section, how do you feel about Mauritius? Anything that you would like to add, I will be going through the comments as we go. But for now, I'm actually going to move to my next one on the list. Actually, I had a different presentation, same candidates and all, but the numbers were on the other side so that you guys can see it, because here with the logo now you cannot see it. But anyways, this is what happens when you go live. Moving on to number 19 on my list, we have Cambodia. How many of you guys are voting for Cambodia? I certainly am. All I can say about Cambodia is that this girl is so strong. And as I was taking some time to sit down and write my notes about her, some of the things that came up in my mind was like, first of all, Cambodia is a racing powerhouse in pageantry, in my opinion. You know, we have seen that for the past few years. Perhaps they don't always get the recognition that they deserve, but recently they really are stepping it up when it comes to the candidates and the preparation that they give to the girls. Um, for me, Cambodia in Miss Grand International this year really embodies a perfect balance between facial beauty, her physique as well, and of course, she also has that wow factor that, in my opinion, is essential when you are competing at Miss Grand International. You cannot be boring, and I think that Miss Cambodia is delivering very well on that level. Um, I think that when it comes to when I look at the competition as a whole, right? Because if I was in the position of judging, I would not only consider certain competitions, but also the entire thing from beginning to end. I think that most competitions were a success for her. I think particularly of the national costume competition. I know that sometimes the reception of her national costume was a little bit mixed, but I think that it was a beautiful message. I think that talking about coffee and something that it's something that not only people from your country love, but also that is so loved and appreciated all over the world was really really clever. And also her evening gown presentation, I thought that she looked amazing. So there you go for Cambodia. Let me know in the chat, what do you think? Also, this is a way for people who will watch this live stream later on, for them to also see what you guys think. So your comments will stay on the live stream. Moving on to number 18. This is a contestant that I know a lot of you guys are rooting for, and I am talking about Miss Ghana, or should I say Ghan. Just kidding. I think that Miss Ghana, I mean, it's literally within my notes. I wrote one of the most charismatic girls in the competition. Um, she managed to always stand out. And as I was telling you earlier, for me personally, that is one of the most important things in Miss Grand International. The biggest sin that you can commit at Miss Grand International is to be boring. And this girl understood that very early on in the competition. Therefore, for every single presentation, competition, public appearance, it doesn't matter if it's like a major event or if it's just like some social media live stream, she was always entertaining, on her A game, doing something that will bring the attention to her. Um, one of the things that I also took into consideration is that, for those of you who might not know, who are not aware, actually Miss Grand Ghana, the national director, it is now Abina, who was um, one of the title holders of Miss Grand International in 2020. So she was actually the winner of Miss Grand International, and then she took over the Ghana franchise. So I think that this girl has great preparation because she has insight from someone who literally did hold the crown of Miss Grand International. And to a certain extent, I think that she understood the formula of the show. Now, you might be wondering then, if she did everything so incredibly, why is she only, number 18 on my list? Well, the reason for that is because I think that, compared, for example, to last year, I don't know if you guys remember the candidate who was representing Hong Kong last year. She was so entertaining, so out there. She always had a way to grab our attentions, but it was very one note. It was always the funny things, and we rarely got to see the queenly things. I think that Miss Ghana gave us more of a balanced performance. So yes, there was fun and there was entertainment and there was show, but we also got to see a little bit more of her, let's say, like her pasarela. We got to see more of her elegance during the evening gown presentation. My only wish is that um, that difference, between the fun and the actual work of a miss was a little bit more balanced. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. But overall, I really, really enjoyed her this year. And you never know. I mean, if she makes it to the top 20, then it depends on her performance. She might even be able to go further. At number 17, we have Miss Grand Mexico. Okay, Mexico. I actually don't have a lot of feedback for Mexico because I think that truthfully she is very consistent overall. I think that facially and physically speaking, she is just out of this world. Very, very beautiful woman. Um, the more that I watched her compete, also the more that she grew on me. To be honest, I think that in the beginning I was kind of like overlooking her because for me she looks kind of like the standard, like the type of girl that I would expect to see at Miss Grand International. And personally, I always look for an edge. I always look for something that will set you apart. But I think that overall she did deliver what I was expecting. Like she was consistent in that sense. When I think of perhaps some of the highlights of her presentations within the competition, I think that it would have been her swimsuit competition and the evening gown as well, that we just had during the preliminary for the evening gown. And the swimsuit was like earlier, like a few days ago, but still very, very strong in my opinion. So this is my number 17, Mexico. How are we feeling so far? I see a lot of people in the live chat rooting for Dominican Republic. We have people here talking about Philippines, about Roberta, and of course, some of you also sending comments about the girls um, that we just talked about. So Ghana, Cambodia, and Mauritius. Thank you guys for joining me and being part of the conversation. It's always a little bit more fun when you have people sharing with you. So without further ado, let's get into my top 16. So candidate representing United Kingdom. To be fully transparent, United Kingdom was definitely a grower for me. Since the beginning, I was not necessarily sold on the fantasy because I thought that she didn't add necessarily to the MGI prototype or the stereotype, the type of girls that you would necessarily see at MGI. However, the more that I got to see her presentations, every single competition, her interactions on social media and everything, that's when she really, really started growing on me. For me, honestly, she comes across as being a very technical queen. She comes across as being a very prepared queen as well. I love her aura, the energy that she just exudes, and also how she carries herself. I think of, in terms of highlights, of course, the national costume presentation, because she showed not only her creativity and her team's creativity as well, but also how talented she was. She was literally doing like her ballet routine on stage, and that says a lot about a girl and just how strong her work ethic is. And at the same time, her closed door interview, I thought that she was one of the best during the interviews. I know that a lot of people, I mean, international fans, were sending me messages and asking me to do a full review of the closed door interviews. Truthfully, guys, I did a reaction to Roberta because the amount of people just asking me for it was really, really overwhelming. Like a lot of messages asking about it. For the rest, I was intending to do a live stream, but when I realized that the entire thing was over 6 hours, I told myself, maybe I'll take it into consideration for my own picks, but I won't do a live stream which is gonna last 6 hours. That's just way too much. Um, but yes, I'm looking at some of the comments here on the side. I love this one by Dorothy. Thank you, Dorothy, for joining us. Whoever takes the golden crown and her court, let's be happy and proud of them. I agree with that. I think that we can all find a way to cheer for the winner, you know? Okay, so officially, I'm gonna turn the page and move on to my top 15. At number 15 on my list, we have the beautiful Curacao. How do we feel about Curacao? Well, according to my notes, outstanding beauty and presence on stage. Of course, I think that this girl is obviously very, very beautiful, and I'm pretty sure that we are all on the same page when it comes to that. Personally, I think that when a girl is doing something right, as being part of the audience, you're always excited when the girl is just about to come on stage. You don't know what she's going to do. How is she going to surprise us this time? And that's precisely what I felt when it comes to Miss Curacao and her presentation during Miss Grand International, during most of the presentation. Um, there were certain moments, and the only reason why she is not ranked higher on my list is because I think that for certain presentations she was really really strong. For some others, not as much. So there was a little bit of inconsistency when it comes to that. For example, when I think of her swimsuit presentation, she was just like wow, wow factor. Same thing when it comes to the evening gown presentation. But when I think of her national costume, for example, it wasn't as strong as some of the other people, and that's what I'm talking about when it comes to inconsistency. Inconsistency, yes, exactly. In terms of the looks, I mean, definitely, there's nothing that I can criticize when it comes to that. But I think that if she steps up the performance a little bit for finals, she might be able to go further. So we never know. Let's wait and see. Okay, let me just read some of the comments. No bashing, no hard feelings. Got May. I agree with you. Let's all spread love and positivity for as long as we are not being teased. Not just kidding. All right. Moving on to number what now? Number 14 on my list. We have the beautiful Vietnam. Vietnam. Yes, you heard it right. Vietnam, the raising powerhouse in pageantry, the Asian powerhouse who is currently raising because of the level of support and quality candidates that they are sending internationally. This woman was no exception. When I look at her, what I see simply is the perfect mix of beauty, elegance, and excitement. I think that it doesn't really matter which performance you are analyzing, all of those elements were always there. This woman was never boring. This woman was always technically correct. The looks were on point, and she was delivering a show. One of the things that I also really want to highlight when it comes to Vietnam, particularly this candidate, is that, well, first of all, she only had a few days to prepare between the moment that she won the her national competition and the moment that she was sent to Miss Grand International, like the actual international competition. So I definitely have to give her props, not only to her but also to her entire team for being able to pull it off. Which, in my opinion, is something that is very, very challenging, especially considering that the reigning queen of Miss Grand International was coming from Vietnam. So the layer of pressure and like stress that comes with that, you guys can only imagine. But I think that she managed to pull it off very, very well. And I think that even though she only had a few days of preparation, she still managed to outperform several fan favorites. So, by all means, props to you, Miss Vietnam. Um, mm, 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 mm. Moving on to number, what is it? Number 13 on my list at this time, we have Miss Spain. Is this a surprise for you guys? I am going to say that I was a little bit surprised to see how well and I mean how well Miss Payne was performing, how strong she was on stage. For me, one of the most pleasant surprises in the competition so far. Um, I think that I don't know why. In the beginning, I kind of doubted her a little bit based on the same things that we always talk about. You know, there's always kind of like a stereotype and like there's like this prototype of woman that you would imagine will go to MGI. And for me, she just had like a different type of beauty. But man, the moment that she stepped on that stage, you cannot deny her presence. You cannot deny just how powerful she is in terms of her performance and how she connects with the camera, with the viewers, most importantly. And I think that in terms of impact, she has been one of the most impressive ones in that on that level. Also, let's address this. I think that she is also spicing up a little bit the batch of European girls. I know that sometimes a lot of people message me and they tell me, Louis, when I watch your topics list, like sometimes there are not as many. Wow, the noise outside. So yeah, sometimes people message me and they're like, like sometimes like European girls don't place as high on your list, and it's just I tell them like I love them all, of course, but it's just based on preference because for me, I look for more of like spice on the performance. I look for more, you know, I don't know. I like drama, and I think that this girl is bringing that element to Miss Grand, especially representing for Spain. I see someone commenting this on the live chat, and it's actually part of my notes as well. This girl is actually Cuban. She is representing Spain, but she was born in Cuba, and I didn't know this until like probably a few days ago when one of my friends messaged me and she was like, "Hey, did you know that she's Cuban?" I was like, "What?" So definitely she made my list without any bias, not because she's Cuban, but because of her incredible performance. Let me just remind you of that national costume, how beautiful she looked, and how creative it was, how inclusive it was. So I don't think I have to defend my pick any further than that. She was incredible. Um, and yes, I see you guys agreeing as well on the live chat. So I'm glad that we are on the same page. Moving on to number 12, this time on my list, we have the beautiful Miss Peru. And is this a surprise to anyone? I think that Peru, um, you know, when I think of this woman, I'll tell you precisely how I feel. For those of you who watched my early favorites video for Miss Grand International, she was within my list. And the way that I experienced like all of her competitions and her performances is that I feel like she delivered exactly what I was expecting. You know that feeling when you have high hopes for someone, for a candidate, and you just hope that, she'll be able to pull it off and manage to go above and beyond. That's exactly what she has been giving me during this entire thing. I will describe her performance as effortless and eye catching because I think that the beauty, the presence, the wardrobe is always there. But there's just something about her that she is really at ease on stage, which I think is great because it doesn't make it look forced. It doesn't make it look like she's, trying to mm, let's say impress anyone. She's just going on stage and delivering the best that she has because that's who she is. I personally really love that. um so yeah, it truly shows like how well prepared she is in terms of I mean, not only her walk but also her communication skills. Her gown was amazing, her national costume, and I think that we need to give her props for this, not only to the queen herself but also to the entire team behind her, because she really strikes me as one of the most prepared ones. So how do we feel about Miss Peru? Go ahead in the live chat and voice your opinions. In the meantime, I am going to be moving on to number 11 on my list. And number 11, we have Costa Rica. One of the most talked about candidates since the beginning of MGI for obvious reasons. I mean, not only she has the Miss Universe experience already, but she also placed high at Miss Universe. And honestly, the way that I feel about her is that the fact that this woman has this experience not only in pageantry but at one of the most, or the most prestigious pageant in the world, it truly shows because the way that she handled herself during MGI was just out of this world. I think that yes, of course, she did kind of adapt her approach to pageants and perhaps her looks and everything, but it is very very effective. Like, she is eye catching, it's beautiful. I just love everything about her. And I see someone here on the live chat commenting, Justin Pacheco is saying Costa Rica is a literal Barbie, and I couldn't agree more. I think that she is incredible. She definitely mastered the dark long hairstyle with the tan skin, which I feel like is such a classic thing at this point. She always carried herself with a lot of presence, with grace, with elegance, and for me, that is still the key up until this day. And even wrote down on my notes that she reminds me of other queens as well. I mean, first of all, she reminds me of Queen Cher. For those of you Cher fans out there, I think that she is one of the most iconic women to ever do this type of hairstyle. For those of you Miss Universe fans out there, she reminds me obviously of Stephanie Gutierrez, of course. And for the local, pageant fans in the Philippines, she is also giving me Justin Felizarta vibes. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I mean, I don't know. There's just like a little Justin Felizarta in there. So there you go. Let me know in the comment section how do you feel about Miss Costa Rica, and I will be reading you as well. I see some people saying yes for Stephanie Gutierrez vibe. I see it, and you know what? I'm not mad about it. We really, really love that. So moving on to number 10 on my list. Who do you think is going to be? Is it a surprise? It's Philippines, Roberta Tamondong. Such a beautiful woman. I feel like Roberta, this time around in Miss Grand International, has definitely exceeded everyone's expectation. Overall, great performance, especially considering Roberta's age. For me, it's truly mind blowing that Roberta was 19 years old when she joined the competition and that she is now 20 years old. Um, she actually turned 20 during the competition. You know, a part of me, I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys. I think personally that Roberta deserves a spot within the top 10 just based on her performance. But also, a part of me, this is like wishful thinking because we know the dynamic between Miss Grand International and the Philippines, and sometimes some of the passive aggressive comments that might be out there. Um, so I truly don't know how that is going to affect Roberta and her performance, or even if, perhaps the decision to put her within the top 10 or not is already made. I truly have no idea. So truly here with my ranking, I'm going off performance. When you look at Roberta, I think that she brought something that is very important, which is the classic training and that classic standard. I think that whenever you look at the really important presentations, so the swimsuit presentation that we had, we can talk about the sportswear presentation if you want, the evening gown presentation as well as the national costume. She lived up to that standard of quality that the Philippines has set. Um, but at the same time, she brought an edge. Roberta is a very young girl, so of course she is going to have a fresh approach to pageantry, and I think that that can truly be seen through her performance. I'm thinking of maybe like her evening gown choice when you were seeing like this beautiful corset and just how the dress was designed in a way that was appropriate for pageantry, but also was like see through. It was something outside of the box that personally I had never seen when it comes to this type of pageants. So I'm very very pleased with her performance. Also the attention to details. If you remember during the swimsuit presentation, when at the end of it she went on the frame at the back, which is something that only Philippines did. So I think that in her own way she always found a way to stand out from everyone else. Now whether or not that will be seen and appreciated, that is out of our control. That is really on the Miss Grand International Organization hands. But yeah, overall, super proud of Roberta. I think that she did an incredible job. Now, let me know in the chat, how do you feel about Roberta, her performance, her effort? Are you happy? And yeah, just remember to be kind, supportive, and send always love. Moving on to number 9 on the list, we have Venezuela. And when I was making my ranking, I was kind of like, am I placing Venezuela too low? I don't know. I'm not sure. But, overall, but how I feel about Louisette, I do have a few things to say. So I think that Louisette was able to shine during Miss Grand International, and she was definitely able to raise her flag at MGI. In my opinion, even more than at Miss Universe, there was something about Louisette at Miss Universe that I thought that she was trying a little bit too much. I don't know if that's the appropriate term, but I felt like it wasn't effortless. You could see that she was trying to make it work during Miss Universe. And I am not getting that as much now at MGI. I think that she's enjoying more the experience, just going with the flow and, just living her best life while simultaneously trying to bring back the Golden Crown to Venezuela. Um, I also wrote on my notes that, similar to other girls that I said, it's always exciting to wait for her to come out and see what she is going to do, what she is going to deliver during her presentation, especially considering that she is one of the last girls to come. I mean, Venezuela V, she is actually the second to last to come out. So always having that moment to look forward in the competition makes the entire thing um, better for the viewers, in my opinion. So but I think of the highlights of her competitions of so far, for me it must have been the national costume. I think that she looked incredible, although it was a concept that had already been done before. I think that she pulled it off in a very unique and beautiful way. Same thing for her evening gown. She looked beautiful in red. So I don't know, I have high hopes for her. Once again, it all depends of the final moments in the competition and how she will um, deliver, how she will perform during those final moments. Moving on the list, now we are at number 8. Who is it going to be? Dominican Republic. If I had to describe this woman with one word, that word will be wow. Wow, wow, wow. Such a beautiful woman. And I mean this, I mean, the wow term is not just for her beauty, but in terms of everything, every single aspect: beauty, performance, style, stage presence, everything. When I think of her, I mean, I was always pleasantly surprised by her. And for those of you who actually watched my content about MGI since the beginning, you know that she was actually within my list of early top favorites. As I mentioned during that video, I know her national director, so I knew that she had a strong support system, someone who truly works on their girls and who truly gives them a lot of tools and resources to make sure that they excel. So already because of that, I was hoping that she will bring her A game to the table, and man, did she deliver! One of the highlights for her will be the closed door interview. I really really enjoyed that. When I heard all of her answers and the things that she had to say, so she was truly incredible, and her evening gown as well. She looked like $1 million. And of course, I mean, I don't want to go through every single competition, but also I might add the swimsuit presentation. Her body is truly out of this world. So all I can say is congratulations, Miss Dominican Republic, for truly raising your flag, bringing visibility to Dominican Republic, who I think like in the past few years have been really, stepping up their games. And although they are not, I wouldn't consider Dominican Republic to have a sash factor. However, man, they have a lot of quality girls, and she is the perfect example of that. So, let me know in the chat, how do you feel about Miss Dominican Republic? Now, moving on, at number 7, we have Miss Nigeria. Mm, 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 mm. And I'm going to say this right away. I am giving Nigeria, she is actually claiming the top spot, the highest ranking African country in my list. So I think that when I analyze Nigeria's performance, um, I am getting, I would say, like the perfect balance, the perfect mix of class, elegance, drama, and fierceness. And I think that all of those things are very important because considering that this is Miss Grand International, okay, let's not forget that it's not any pageant. MGI is very particular. Class and elegance, I think that is a must for any queen in any beauty pageant that you are competing. You need to carry yourself in a certain way, but also the drama and the fierceness. And when I say drama, what I mean is, the dramatics of it all is so theatrical. I really like that because it makes it entertaining for the audience. In my mind, based on my experience with MGI and the different shows that I have, watched, I always get this sense that it's a lot about show business, it's about entertainment, it's about catching the viewer's attention. And I think that she is doing it in a very good way. Earlier I was talking to you about Miss Ghana, I was talking to you about Miss Hong Kong last year. And in my opinion, those were girls who were able to grab the attention with the way that they handled themselves. But in my opinion, Nigeria truly found the perfect balance, the sweet spot between grabbing the attention and still delivering, the grace, the elegance, and all of those things. So for that, she definitely had to be within my top 10. She is ranking at number 7 at the moment. She just won't allow us to be bored. And for me, that's, as I said, a huge thing. I think that one of the most important, always on her A game. So what can I say? Number 7, it is pretty close to the top 5. So hopefully with performance and, just bringing the wow factor to the finals, she might even be able to crack the top 5. Anyways, crossing fingers and manifesting it for her, because I truly believe that she has what it takes. Now, things are getting interesting. We are getting into the top 6 of my list. And at number 6, we have none other than, who do you think it is? I think I'm going to start doing some ASMR here on the channel. My number 6. Just kidding. My number 6 on the list goes to Colombia. No surprise there for me. As most candidates coming from Colombia, as most girls, there is not much to criticize in terms of the performance, in terms of the looks, and the speaking capacities of this woman. I think that when I saw her performing during the more technical performances, like competitions, I was kind of like, I told myself, okay, I mean, this is what I was expecting. She's doing great, actually excellent, but that's what I was expecting from Colombia. The moment that she was really able to capture my attention was during the closed door interview, because she was, first of all, so funny, so relatable, so eloquent in English. And I just told myself, with the level of performance and the level of technical skill that she can deliver during the more technical competitions, and this level of communication skills, she might just be like the perfect spokesperson for the organization. So I think that she hit, once again, that very sweet spot right there when you bring in the best of both worlds to your performance. Um, she was also one of my early favorites. So, as I said earlier, I think that when you see a girl who lives up to your expectation, that is always a very pleasant thing. And, if I could truly, I will squeeze her within the top five. But I think that I just had other things to consider for the top five. But I still believe that she has what it takes. She could easily crack it. So, just hoping, for the best for her, crossing fingers. And if it's meant to be, then be it. Okay, so just before we get into the top five, I just want to go through the comments a little bit and see where you guys are. How do you feel about the girls so far, and the ones that I have mentioned at the moment? Colombia grew with every single presentation. She was awesome in the interview, swimsuit and gown. I agree with you, H. Pelao. I couldn't agree more. Um, Dorothy says, Big Boss needs some love. Um, some people, okay, I see some people giving me their predictions as well, so I'm not gonna read it right away just so that I don't spoil my own predictions. But I think that you guys are already starting to see who might be within my top five. Um, Unless I have some surprises for you guys. I'm not saying anything, I'm not revealing too much. Um, Someone is saying, whatever happens tonight, Roberta is already my MGI queen. Through her dedication and performance, she earned my heart. She is very resilient and inspirational. Thank you, Luis. Well, thank you, Delicious. I appreciate your comment, and I agree. No matter what, Roberta, and not just Roberta, all of the girls should be proud of their performance because all of them have been giving their best. Sometimes, it's easier for us as pageant fans to sit at home and criticize and, make topics and stuff, but it's very, very hard to be there, challenging and trying your best to live up to everyone's expectations. That's a lot of pressure. So definitely props to Roberta and to all of the girls as well. Now, enough of me talking. I will not keep you waiting much longer. Let's get into my top five. So, at number five on my list, and please do let me know in the comment section if you agree or not. We have Czech Republic. Czech Republic has been one of the fan favorites since day one in the competition. Not just one of my fan favorites, but just overall. I feel like she has been so talked about, so hyped. And the truth about her is that she has been delivering for every single competition, even in some of them exceeding my expectations. I think that out of the girls of Europe, out of that batch, she is definitely the best, um, the strongest, the more confident. Just the way that she comes across on stage, I think that she is definitely very, very skilled. Um, and there's also something about her beauty that reminds me a lot of our reigning Miss World, Carolina. If you guys can see like the similarity. So I think that, if Miss Grand International as a pageant was looking for this type of woman, this type of spokesperson, she will definitely be a very solid option. Also, something that even Nawad has mentioned himself is that, in Europe, pageants are not as influential, as appreciated by the general public. So I think that crowning a woman from Czech Republic and truly putting in the work will be a way to perhaps grow that market in Europe and bring a little bit more attention from that side of the world to Miss Grand International and to other pageants overall, because I truly feel like there's a lot of beauty in Europe, and sometimes because of the lack of support from the general public, we don't get as much hype from them, or perhaps training and all of those things. But I think that, yes, perhaps with the right performance and the right styling and all, wow factor during finals, she might be able to crack top five, even top three, and why not win the crown? and that is also true for every single one of the ladies within my list. I feel like it also depends of the final moments. Now, moving on to number 4 on my list, I know that she is a fan favorite, major fan favorite for obvious reasons, and I am talking about Miss Thailand. Wow factor on every single aspect: face, body, performance. You mentioned it. I think that in terms of the competition, there are, if not very few moments, maybe no moments in the competition where I would actually change something that Miss Thailand did during the competition. I just think that her performance from A to Z was so effortless, so beautiful, so entertaining, that personally I am very pleased with that. Um, I also think that she is a very talented woman, which could be very beneficial for her if she was to win the title of Miss Grand International. We know that she works in show business. I forget exactly what she does, but I think that she's an actress or a singer or both, even better. So I think that she could use those skills during her reign to elevate, the brand of Miss Grand International. And of course, we also have to acknowledge that she has a very strong social media presence, being the most followed candidate on social media with over 1.6 million subscribers. And this is, I watched this, like I checked those numbers in the very beginning of the competition. I have to go back and check now, might be even higher than that. But we know that in today's world, social media does matter a lot. Also, I think, when we get to the top 5, we also have to start thinking about business, because let's not forget that Nawat is a businessman, and he does take these things into consideration. MGI, this is the 10th anniversary of the pageant. Crowning a queen from Thailand will be a very good way to consolidate the influence of the pageant in his home country. The place where it comes from. I think that it will be like a great homage to the country and where the place where the pageant was initiated. So I wouldn't, take that out of the picture. And the only reason why she is actually not higher on my list is because, if you guys remember, like very early in the competition, there was a little bit of a minor controversy, I would say, when she spoke about how overworked she felt. And some of the people from the organization came out and said that, other title holders never complained. And like, when you accept the crown, you also accept the responsibility that comes with that. So I don't know if those things might have rubbed the organization the wrong way. I feel like sometimes now what perhaps is a little bit harder, like more. Um, he expects more from Thailand just because it's his home country, and therefore, he won't really give it to them unless they are the absolute best in everything that they do. So those are just my opinions, and the only reason why she is placed at number 4. Let me wait for the ambulance to go away so that I can share with you my final top 3. And just a little reminder for those of you who are watching me up until now, if you are enjoying this video and especially enjoying this format, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We are on our journey road to 200,000 subscribers. And as usual, as I always said, be part of the conversation. Don't just be a silent viewer, be part of the live chat or the comment section if you are watching this after the live stream has ended. So thank you guys for joining me. And please follow me as well on social media. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram at Luis Portelles. You will find me on all social platforms. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, let's get into the top 3. At number 3, who do you guys think it is? I am going to say it. I am going to predict my number 3 on the list is Brazil. Hmm. Brazil is, I think that honestly, this woman has the potential to be the winner. I'm not going to take that away from her. And I don't want to sound redundant when it comes to, the other girls and the things that I will mention for her. So I will try to stick to the things that, in my opinion, set her apart. First of all, the beauty, of course, the face, the physique, the glam, all of that. The performance is always on point. I give her that. But I think that one of the things that will be very beneficial for her during her selection process, for whether or not she might become the new queen of Miss Grand International, is just how incredibly supportive and just like overall encouraging the Brazilian fan base is. I am Latino. I am from, Latin America, so I know just, Brazilians are all over the place, all over the world. If you go to any like celebrities like comment section, there's always like come to Brazil, or gostosa type of comments, and people just like sending love from Brazil. I think that Miss Grand International as an organization will truly benefit from a queen that brings, of course, like the obvious beauty. Look at her, who brings the obvious excellence during the competition, but most importantly, that brings that level of support and visibility, especially in Latin America, which is a part of the world that the Miss Grand organization, it is still working on conquering. They want to spread their influence, they want to grow, and they want to gain more visibility. I think that Brazil, from a business perspective, will be a great way to expand that influence. Now, truthfully, I was kind of hesitating between putting her in my top three or top two, even top one. But one of the things that I did take into consideration, I don't know if you guys would agree, it's one of the comments that Nawad said during the closed door interview, where he talked about the political situation in Brazil, the economical situation of the country. And I don't know why that just rubbed me the wrong way. I just felt like he would actually consider those things before considering like her actual potential, like what the lady is bringing. So I don't know if that might have an impact on her placing higher or not. For me, I decided to be a little bit conservative and put her at number three, because I do believe she deserves that, spot within the top three at least. And for the rest, it depends of the organization, what they want and what makes sense for them based on business purposes. Moving on to my number two. Whew, it's almost time to unveil the number one pick, but for now, let's talk about my number two on the list goes to Puerto Rico, Oksana. Hmm. Oksana has the aura of a queen. You know, there's nothing, pretty much nothing that I will look back on her journey and be like, oh, here she screwed up, or here she had a misstep, this wasn't good. Oksana was a professional since the beginning. And I feel like a big part of that was just because of how badly she wanted to represent Puerto Rico. I've been aware um, of just like her overall performance and like what she can do and who she is a while ago, actually, since she competed at Miss Universe Puerto Rico. And of course, she did not achieve the national crown that time. But when she was crowned as Miss Grand Puerto Rico, I just knew that there was something about her that she was going to go far in the competition just because of what she brings to the table. All of those things, once again, I'm not going to be redundant and go through every single thing once again, but she did live up to my expectations during every single one of the competitions at Miss Grand International. She even went beyond my expectations, which I think is the most important thing. Not just giving the audience what they want from you, but giving them something that they didn't even need, that they didn't even know they needed from you. I think that's even more impressive. Um, Talking a little bit more about the business side of things, that I was telling you about it. Um, I think that Puerto Rico in Latin America is definitely a powerhouse in terms of pageantry. So they could definitely bring the visibility, the financial support as well. And as we were saying, Miss Grant is still working on expanding their influence in Latin America. So yes, I do believe that Puerto Rico, it is still um, a very logical, rational choice if they were trying to crown a queen. And of course, it's not just because of that. When you look at Oksana and everything that she did during the competition, she is deserving of a crown. So it's not just a business thing, it's not just a financial thing. I think that at the end of the day, she will be able to give the organization the best of both worlds. So I don't know if you guys agree. Let me know in the chat. As I said, this is your chance to express yourself and tell me whether you agree or not with that. But in the meantime, I am going to go ahead and unveil my number one pick. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you to everyone who is watching me live right now. As I said, this is the very first time that I'm doing a leaderboard during a live stream. reading your interactions and your reactions in real time. So I'm truly enjoying this. And if you enjoyed this format, please let me know by liking the video, by leaving a comment, by subscribing to the channel. When I see that you guys react positively to certain contents, that's when I want to make more of it. So thank you, everyone. And of course, now let's move on to my number one pick on the list. Is this a surprise to you guys? Let me know. Is this a surprise? Yes or no? Indonesia is my number one pick for Miss Grand International 2022. What can I say? Let me sit down, child, properly. Let me, sit straight and prepare for my. Why am I putting her at number one? Someone said number one is Luis Portelles of Cuba. I know that's right. Okay, so when it comes to Miss Indonesia's performance, I will, describe it nothing less than impeccable. Everything from beginning to end. I think that she always brought her A game, and whenever I'm looking for a winner, a title holder, that consistency, it is always a must for me. Not just in terms of her performance, but when you look at everything, every single aspect from the girl herself, just like her beauty, the way that she handles herself, her behavior, for other things that might be considered secondary, such as styling, wardrobe, etc. Everything was wow all the time. I think that the perfect example of this was her performance during the national costume presentation, where, of course, she came out with a killer performance during the national costume presentation, but she also brought props, and the props had like even more props, like lights and movement, and that's just, I think, is the perfect example of how elaborate her entire preparation for this pageant was. Every single performance was eye-catching, entertaining, and all of the things that we must have for Miss Grand International. Indonesia, and Indonesians more precisely, supports their queens very fiercely. So we know that, earlier we were talking about business. If Miss Grand International is looking for support and they are looking for that, you know interaction from the audience, I think that Indonesia might be just the perfect nation for that. Also, keeping in mind that Indonesia is the host country this year, so the organization is getting a lot of support from national organizations, from national sponsors, and I think that crowning the queen from that country will just make sense to even take those networking those networking opportunities even further. It just makes sense in my book. Let's not forget that Nawad is a smart man, and he's a very smart businessman as well. So I would definitely consider it if I was him. Now, the only reason why I believe that if he doesn't crown Indonesia, I think that the only thing that would make sense is because he's trying to expand his reach in other regions of the world. I think that up until now, Miss Grand International has the most supportive fan base in Asia. Uh, they have different countries. They just crowned Vietnam last year, so they gained a lot of followers, a lot of supporters from Vietnam. So going back to Indonesia, that will be consolidating that fan base that they already have. But once again, that's just my opinion on the business side of things. But in terms of performance, I think that she is still very deserving. So before I end the live stream, I just want to hear some of you guys comments and opinions. So if you have any questions or things that you would like to add, let me know in the live chat, and I will go through them perhaps for the next 2-3 minutes. I will be reading your comments. So let me double check. um Okay, so some people saying here, okay, this is my friend G Manila. Hi, G Manila. Thank you for joining me again. G Manila is saying, I don't think the host country can win. She can be first runner up though. Actually, I don't see why she wouldn't be able to win. Of course, there is a little stigma about host countries winning because people think that it's just because, the event is taking place in the country and like there must be a bias and the sponsors and this and that. I completely get that. But if the girl is consistent and she delivered what she had to deliver, and she even took it beyond expectations, I don't see why it wouldn't be possible or people wouldn't be happy with it. Some people saying my friend GGR saying Puerto Rico, Curacao, Brazil, Thailand, Spain. I love all of them. And I said this earlier during the live stream, I'll say it again. Coming up with predictions and topics, it's purely, first of all, my opinion. It's also based on what I look for in the performance. Um, and it doesn't really represent what might actually happen during finals. I think that any of these girls, the ones that you mentioned, Gigi, or any of the other girls, for as long as they step up their game during finals, they might crack top 10, top 5, top 3, and why not win the crown. Um, mm, 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 mm. Okay, so Vic is giving us here a hot take. So listen, guys, the staff of Mr. Nawad recommends potential winner among the candidates, and Mr. Nawad choose the one he deemed best for the organization, not necessarily the best performer. That's it. Okay, so this is definitely something that is going around. People talk about Nawad being the one who decides, who is going to win. I think that personally speaking, my opinion is that there is some truth to that. Um, but I think that Nawat's decision is very business oriented as well. For example, last year crowning Vietnam, I think that he knew that there was a huge market in Vietnam, lots of fans. It is, as I've said many, many times, Vietnam is an emerging pageant powerhouse. So by crowning them, he was not only recognizing the efforts of their queen, but also validating the hard work that they have been putting consistently for so long. So yes, I can see how, he will be the one selecting what is best for his organization. Some people might agree with that or not, but it is what it is. Um, let's see. Luis, hey Apple. Luis, do you think Roberta Philippines will be in the top five? Um, it's a good question. I think, to be honest, based on the performance, as I said earlier for Roberta, I think that Roberta delivered on every single aspect that she could have possibly delivered. There is nothing that I will actually go ahead and be like, she should have done this, or I think that she failed during this presentation. There's nothing like that. I think that Roberta did um, her best, her absolute best. But also, as I said during the moment that I was talking about her during this video, I also think that Roberta is kind of like wishful thinking when it comes to this, because I see her effort, I see how well she prepared and everything, and I think that she deserved that spot at least within the top 10. And if she can crack the top 5, even better. But I don't know if the organization will give her that recognition. I don't know if they are ready just yet. I don't know if now what is ready just yet to, give her that. Not just Roberta, but like, you know, give that to the Philippines. My belief is that Filipinas will start placing higher and being more recognized and appreciated when Miss Grand Philippines is an independent organization. Because at that point, there will be a business interest for the organization, for MGI, to give recognition to them. That's just my opinion, to be honest. But as we said earlier, whatever happens, Roberta did her best, and she should be extremely proud. I've been following her since the Binibining Pilipinas days, so I saw her and I saw her growth even before she became a national title holder. So yes, I have no doubt in my mind that she deserves it and that she has what it takes as well. Um, Drea, are you excited as I am? Oh my God. Well, truthfully speaking, yes, of course, I'm excited for finals. I think that the girls have worked so much. I think that it's going to be a beautiful show. Absolutely. I don't have the most cordial history with Miss Grand, personally speaking, just because of the things that they have said and how I have, reacted to those things, and like the way that I position myself when it comes to all of those things. If I don't agree with something, I will be vocal about it. But yes, I'm excited for the show, and I'm excited to see, how the girls are going to perform and live up to our expectations. So it's definitely going to be interesting. Okay, so a good one here. Hey Rakshit. So Rakshit is asking, please tell your opinion about Miss Grand India. Truthfully, when I was coming up with my top 20, India was definitely one of the girls that I was considering to put in. She did not make the top 20 for me personally, but I will say that she was a very close one. If she wasn't within the top 21. She was within the top 22 for sure. She was really, really close. I think that India was consistent. Once again, one of the things that I have always said about her, if you go back and watch my videos about India, is that she's always consistent. Like she delivers, she performs well, she handles herself well. There are no missteps, nothing wrong with the performance. But the one thing that I've been saying for quite a few competitions is that she needed a little bit more energy. She needed a little bit more of like the show factor that, in my opinion, is a must for Miss Grand International. If she was competing for any other pageant, I think that she's delivering, you know, what they would require. She's doing a great job, but for Miss Grand International, you still need that little edge of entertainment. So, anyways, you guys, I'm not going to extend this much longer. We've been live streaming for an hour officially, so I will end it here. Once again, I want to thank you everyone for joining me, for staying with me until the end, and for being part of the conversation. I always have so much fun reading your feedback in real time. If you enjoy my video, once again, please don't forget to hit the like button so that it gets recommended to more people. Subscribe to the channel, hashtag road to 200K. And if you want to spread this on social media, by all means, go ahead and share on Facebook, share on Instagram, tag me everywhere, and I will be reposting. It is always a pleasure to see how you guys, react and interact with my content. So thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you tomorrow with my reaction to the show and my final review. So please stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.